Welcome to Mackey's Motors, a new edition. Today we have a guest star. Lean in. Say hi to the camera.
Hello.
This is my daughter Haley. She's my little mechanics helper today, aka the assistant mechanic, and the awesome Miss Mackey. So, what we have today is a basic lesson on very generic functions and components of an engine. I'm not going into super crazy details today. I'm just giving basic components and show you kind of what they do, but we'll get into it more in depth later on. But just knowing the names, nomenclature, what they do, things like that will help you along with the future lessons. In the future, we're going to learn types of engines, because there's a whole bunch of types of engines. We're going to learn sizes of engines. We're going to learn that there's two major different types of engines called two-stroke and four-stroke, and what is the most common. We're going to learn a little bit about diesels, and then we're going to learn about all their common components. What do they all have inside and what makes them work? How do they make power? Right? Mesmerized. So, to start off today, I had an awesome student tell me that I should add some trivia questions and make it a little more fun. So, Haley, what's our trivia for today?
What is Mr. Mackey's favorite engine?
Now tell the camera.
What is Mr. Mackey's favorite engine?
What is Mr. Mackey's favorite engine? Is it A, a Maytag 72 twin, B, a 3.8 V6 turbo Buick engine, or C, I don't know if you can see it there, blown fuel injected 454. So, yeah, super excited to see what people guess. Post it in the comments. Take your best guess. We'll see if you're right at the end.
What will they get if they get it?
What will they get if they get it? How about a better grade? Some of you need it. Okay, moving along. Today we're going to talk about engine components. I actually have in my garage right this second a couple of buggies that are in different various states of repair. However, one buggy is torn down to its basic components. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab the camera and we're going to go look at one of the major components and I'm going to describe them and explain what they do. Haley's going to be my helper. Look at the camera. And then we're going to answer your trivia question. Hopefully this video will be about 15 minutes long. Stick around. Okay, Haley. Do you know what we have in your hand right now?
No.
Not a clue, right? Most people have no idea. Can you hold it up in the air? Spin it around, maybe? Whoa, that just flipped over. What are you doing?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, so what Haley has in her hand right now is an assembly. This here is called a piston, connecting rod, and crankshaft assembly. In the middle is a wrist pin that the piston pivots on. Flip that piston up and down, like, yeah, see? That's pivoting on a wrist pin. There's a connecting rod which connects the piston to the crankshaft, and you can hold that. And that all happens inside a cylinder and crankcase. So what I have here taken apart is Haley and my buggy. It is a little 150cc four-stroke engine. And I have a timing chain sticking out. We have the cylinder exposed, which means something is missing on this engine. Haley.
I don't know. The head.
Very good. The head's missing. The cylinder head is the first component on the top of an engine, and Haley has one right here, all taken apart, ready to rock and roll for us. Haley, can you show us the parts? You can put that piston down.
Which part?
Doesn't matter. All right, what do you got in your hand right there?
Valve.
That's a valve. Do you know what kind of valve?
No.
All right, so there's a way to tell. Sometimes in a lot of engines, we have valves that are different sizes. A lot of times, the larger valve is the intake valve. Do you know what the intake valve does?
No.
No? All right, well, the intake valve is on one side of the engine, and when it moves, it allows air to go in the engine. Now, how does air go in the engine? Because the piston is moving downward inside the cylinder. As the piston moves downward, it creates suction like a vacuum. That makes this valve open up, and then it lets air through that hole called the intake port and into the engine through what we call the combustion chamber. See? So one side is bigger than the other. That's the intake side right there. And the other side Some people call it the outlet. It's called the exhaust. And the exhaust valve is a little bit smaller because we're going to have hot gases trying to get out. So they have it a little bit smaller because it's going to be under pressure and I want it to move real fast. So you can take a look. One is real dirty in there and the other one's actually really clean. You can tell which one's which, intake and exhaust. Okay? So this is called a cylinder head. Got it? So Haley, these valves go inside the cylinder head, right? Oh, good idea. Flip it over. So we pop that one in there. Ooh, it fits nice and tight. Good. You're going to do that one? Pop it in. So, how do these open and close, Haley? Do you know?
No.
No? All right, so let's put it back up here.
Which way?
Flip it. Yep. Just flop it down. Boom. Okay. We have these things called valve stems sticking up. Okay? Then we have these ridiculous things. They're super hard. Try squeezing it. Squeeze it. Come on. Squeeze it. Can you squeeze it?
No.
No, huh? So, these are called valve
Ew.
springs. Let's see. Oh, gross. Valve springs keep the valves constantly closed by keeping a constant pressure on. How do they keep the valves closed? We have these cool little things called keepers. Okay? And when I have a special tool that compresses this on here, and those little locks in there called keepers will lock onto the valve and the spring pressure will constantly keep these valves closed. So that's pretty crazy, right, Haley? You know, gravity working and spring pressure. So,
I'm reading about gravity and science.
are you really? Oh, way to go, Hopakon. Okay, so what Haley and I have here now is the head assembled. How do these valves open and close? We have to have a couple of things called rockers and a camshaft. Now this engine is the overhead cam design. Other engines are called push rod engines where they have special metal rods coming through the engine and hit rockers to open and close the valves. But this engine is overhead cam. So if Haley, you want to zoom in on this, right there, can you see it? We have something called a camshaft. Pretty cool, right? And then on top, we have something called rocker arm assembly. So we have an intake rocker and an exhaust rocker. And the cam, as it spins, it has bumps on it, and it will push this rocker like a seesaw and push the valve open. And then the valve will open up and allow air in. The piston will then come up and compress it. There'll be a small explosion. Piston moves back down for the power. And then as the piston comes back for exhaust, the cam is still turning and it'll open up the exhaust valve. So we have two rockers and a camshaft. If you want to see the camshaft, see if I can disassemble this quickly. That's our rocker arm assembly for this small engine. And this is our camshaft. You can zoom in on that, Haley. The camshaft is a solid shaft with multiple lobes that as they move, they impart the motion of another part. So what that means, as this spins, you can see this smooth round, it's egg-shaped, and it comes up and it's taller here. As that moves, it will hit something else to cause a reaction. So these are called camshafts. These are roller bearings on this camshaft. You'll only see these in mostly small engines. So, that is the top end of an engine. We know what the valves are now. We know that you need an intake valve and you need an exhaust valve. Did you zoom out? Excellent. She's getting good at the camera thing. So we know we need an intake valve. We know we need an exhaust valve to let air in, exhaust out. We also know that you need a camshaft to make the valves open. Now the springs are what causes the valves to close. The cam is what opens the valves. That's an actual question on the ASZ tests. We know that every single vehicle, no matter what type, overhead cam or push rod, would have some form of rocker assembly to force the valves open. Now the cams can sit directly on top of valves if we have like a quad cam engine or a dual overhead cam where all the exhaust valves have a cam and all the intake valves have a cam, but there has to be something on the valves that's hydraulic to lubricate everything and that won't wear out easily when the cam is pushing on it. So we'll always have some type of rocker. This just happens to be the pivoting type of rocker arm assembly. So that is our major components for today. I hope everybody learned something. And now we're going to go back in and we're going to check out our trivia.
Nyum.
All right. Welcome back into the garage. We're going to answer our trivia question of the day. What is Mr. Mackey's favorite engine? Is it A, a Maytag 72 Twin, a B, 3.8 V6 Turbo Buick, or the C, a blown fuel-injected 454? Haley, what do you think it is?
I think it's B.
You think it's B? Why do you think that?
Because
Because...
you had a lot of Buicks.
Oh. Well, Haley got it right. And post up your comments or questions and let us know in the comment section if you got the trivia question right. See you guys later. Thank you for watching.
Bye.
Like and subscribe.